Hello YouTube, this is TeroPrize667 and we are back with some more Wi-Fi content. This time we are doing WPF. WPF is starting a Wi-Fi division for the first time, so I'm very excited to be a part of it, to be a part of like the ground floor or whatever. So for those of you who do not know what WPF is probably, I think, the largest Pokemon Draft League Showdown community on Discord, so that's really cool that they're doing a Wi-Fi now. I think it'll be a really great way to bring Wi-Fi more to the masses and like also increase everyone who's doing its channels. So that's really exciting as well. So overall, very excited to do it. I'm very happy that I was one of the people they actually reached out to in order to do this. So we'll see how it goes. But starting out, I actually I was unable to actually like make the draft or whatever. I was away for the week that the draft was going on, so I got a few friends to draft for me. Shouts to OG Albina and John Jr. Also, don't ever ask your friends to draft for you if they're also in the same draft, because they will screw you over. So, with both of that in mind, we'll go into the draft here. So, starting out with, I got Iron Bundle. I was the 6th pick overall. Now, I have no qualms with Iron Bundle. I think it's a really good mon, especially since I think it's probably one of the best Terra mons that they were allowing, since they had Terra bans on a lot of like other broken mons like Baxcalibur or Palafin or Iron Valiant or Chimpao, that sort of thing. So having, I think, probably one of, if not the best Terramon in Iron Bundle is a great way to start. There was also Zamazenta Crowned, which was still available, and I think that mod should be banned. And I thought it should have been banned last generation, and it definitely should be banned this generation because it only got better. So, yeah, that was still available. I didn't get that. No, John Jr. got that. So, shout outs to him for getting the better mod. But overall, I'm not too angry about Iron Bundle here. It's still a really good pick. So, overall, it's still a good start, I think. Definitely, like, it's crazy fast and hits really hard, and it gets freeze dry, so it's like you don't really check its water types that well outside of like very bulky, thick, fat water type like Azumarill. But then Azumarill has to run thick fat, so it's not really a threat to the rest of the team type of thing. Next up, the pick was Cinder Ace. Now, round 2 Cinder Ace, a little early, but it's fine. It's still, I think, a really good mon. I do love, even if they nerf Libero this generation, I still think it's really good. I'm a huge fan of the Blaze sets as well. I think Blaze Cinderace kind of just goes wild, especially once like you can really like make it to where if you like don't bring boots and just have it take Rock Ship a couple times, it's in Blaze range, and then it's just claiming mons left and right. Also very fast mon, so I got some speed going on here. It can work as a physical breaker, it can work as a sweeper, it can work up as a cleaner, so it does have some niches it can run. Also, it is able to switch both screens and hazards on from the opponent's side to my side or vice versa. So if I get hazards stacked on, I can switch them with court change, and if my opponent wants to set screens, I can steal the screens. So I do love using Cinderace as like a court change user, especially versus like stuff like Grimmsnarl, which is of course going to want to set screens, or maybe stuff versus Klefki, which is either A, going to want to set screens, or B, set spikes. One of the two. So very excited to have Cinderace here. Next we have Corva Knight. So overall, I am okay with Corva Knight. It is a very bulky mon. It's really hard to just kill overall without hitting a like super effective special stat, because its defense stat is crazy. And Steel Flying is a very nice defensive stat. It's immune to Earthquake spam, so if you use it that way. The biggest issue I've had with Corva Knight is it kind of is either A, very passive, or B, isn't, if you're running it like offensively, then you're kind of running into that whole issue of you don't really get a lot of moves that you want to hit mons with outside of like Body Press and Brave Bird and U-Turn, so it's kind of like awkward in that sense of I don't have a lot of moves that are hitting some of these mons that I need to hit, so it's just there. It is still, I think, it's still a nice mon overall. I'm not this at this point. I was okay with my draft. It was the best, but also it wasn't bad. I don't think so. I was okay at this point with them taking Corva Knight, and it does. Okay. I mean, like one of the issues I had as well is it doesn't get any hazards. It doesn't get spikes. It doesn't get stealth rocks. I kind of like having a steel type that gets it, or a steel type that's just super offensive like Kartana or something like that. So overall, it's fine. It's not terrible by any means. I'm still okay with the draft going so far. Next up is Dragouge. So this was not actually round 4 Dragouge. Originally, it was Hydreigon, but Hydreigon did not fit on the team at the end, so it was dropped and replaced with Dragouge. So we'll just talk about Dragouge here. Poison, Dragon type. Really cool, unique typing there. It is a grounded poison. It has adaptability, so it hits really hard with Draco Meteor. Not many mods want to switch into this because if you go into a fairy type, you might get hit by Sludge Bomb, and adaptability boosted Sludge Bomb is going to deal a lot of damage. It has a very high SPDEF stat and a respectable HP stat, with the SPDEF stat being 123 and the HP stat being 65, which is fine for its SPDEF. So it is going to be able to tank a lot of special hits. My issue with Dragouge this generation specifically is it doesn't really hit super hard with its non-stab. I mean, that's with every generation, but it doesn't get flip turn this gen, unfortunately, so it's not going to be able to pivot, but overall, I'm okay with it. It does have T-Spikes, so I can set T-Spikes on an unsuspecting opponent that maybe doesn't have a great grounded poison. So I could get T-Spikes up versus my opponent and just have them get poisoned. Also, its coverage is kind of crazy, even if it doesn't have the highest special attack stat for its non-adaptability boosted moves. It still has a very crazy coverage. So it's still kind of hard to just to switch into overall. So that's what Dragouge ends up being our quote-unquote 4th pick. Next we have Dancy. Now Dancy, it gets stealth rocks, it gets spikes, it is just an annoying nuisance overall. It has huge defense and special defense with 150. Its special attack is respectable at 100. Overall though, it's a very defensive mon. You can use it as a special trick room sweeper as well if you want. I do love trick room sets, so I might be running trick room at some point this season. We'll find out. But overall, it is getting spikes was really cool. So it can now just be a spike setter, and it still has its screens and whatnot, as well as baton pass. So it is a cool mon. This mon this is one of the mons I was going to suggest to be drafted at this point anyways, because I wanted hazard setters, as at that point I had no hazards whatsoever. So I was I want a hazard setter. Dancy gets both. That's okay with me. Let's get Dancy. And funny enough, Dancy was actually taken before I suggested it. So definitely something we were on the correct wavelength about. Next up, we have Farigiraf. So originally this was not Farigiraf. This was a replacement mon. So originally, Weird Deer was taken later, but this is what I quote-unquote replaced Weird Deer with, was Farigiraf. Weird Deer is a worse Farigiraf. That plain and simple. Farigiraf gets everything that Weird Deer does not, and hits harder than Weird Deer. So Weird Deer is just useless compared to Farigiraf. So Farigiraf, once again, it's very surprisingly bulky. It can hit really hard. It does get Nasty Plot as well as Calm Mind. So it could be a setup special attack sweeper, that sort of thing. Also gets Armor Tail, so it's similar to Serena, where it is protected from priority moves. It gets Sap Sippers, so it can take on grass types or grass moves. And then, once again, good special attack with 110, just start hitting things hard. It has a high HP of 120, so it could be a good wish passer. It does get baton pass, so it can wish baton pass if need be. And yeah, so overall, kind of just, I think, a cool mon. I am excited to use it. I've used it before. It is a very nice mon. Like, for its price range of 7, I do think it's really good. So I'm happy to pick it up. Once again, the original mon that it is replacing is Weird Deer. But Weird Deer was picked later on, of course. So I don't think a pick 6 Weird Deer is ever good. Next, we have Heracross. Now, they actually picked Heracross. I'm okay with Heracross. I guess, like, my biggest issues, of course, with Heracross is its typing is bug fighting, which is very, like, much a nuisance versus flying types. And there's, like, every mon seems to get Aerial Ace for some odd reason. So it's, like, kind of a struggle, like, okay, does this mon going to have, like, the Aerial Ace coverage? Am I going to be able to, like, step on it? But outside of that, it hits crazy hard. It gets Mega Horn close combat, both base 120 stab. It's really hard. It has both Guts and Moxie, 2 amazing abilities, and it's kind of hard to, like, predict which one it is. You don't want to, like, just quick Will-O-Wisp willy-nilly versus this team, is because if Heracross comes in, it gets burned, and then boom, a lot of mons are dying. And same thing with Moxie. It can really start snowballing, especially like a Choice Scarf set. It also now gets Trailblaze, so +1 speed. I don't have to be locked into a move. I can start clicking other moves. It becomes really tough to handle. But once again, it's kind of weak to just flying moves in general. Its defense stat is only 75, which is, I actually thought the Spadef stat was lower, but it has higher Spadef for some odd reason. But outside that, I still love Heracross. I have no issue with this pick. It does very well and can hit very hard. Also has spikes, so I can be running like a spike set for it if I want to be like a more defensive set. But overall, Heracross, just a cool mon in general. Happy to have it on the team. Next, we have Bramblegast. Now, at this point, the team needed a spinner. I think most of the time, I think spinners should be drafted earlier in the draft, because for how paramount hazards are this gen, it seems like everything gets spikes now. So unless you just want to be running boots every single week, which it's fine. I just don't really care for doing, because I want to run items that like can boost my attacks, can boost my special attacks, or like has some niche that help me live a move or help me sweep better. So I'm not the biggest fan of running boots. So I really wanted a good spinner. Unfortunately, there weren't really many left at this point in the draft. So I just said grab Bramblegast. It's a nuisance of a mon overall. Grass Ghost with stuff like Leech Seed and Wind Rider as well, or whatever the ability is called, that protects it from Hurricane and Heat Wave and stuff like that. So it does get protection from like some of like the wind moves, which is really cool. So it can be like a nuisance in that way. And also, but like the thing is, it's Ghost Physical Stab is Shadow Sneak, and that's about it. Phantom Force is not that great of a move. It's 2 turns, so you do have a chance to switch. Yeah, its coverage is painfully bad, but it does work as a very like annoying nuisance of a mon to just kill if you can't just straight up OHKO it with like special moves, because you can just stop all physical attackers pretty much with nuisances like was it Strength Sap and stuff like that. So it can be just annoying to kill overall for the physical mons. So kind of what it's here for, just to be a nuisance overall, annoy some teams, get some like cool kills or whatever, and of course get rid of hazards with rapid spin, as well as like block spin. So you know, when I want to get spikes plus rocks up. Next up, we have Crocodile. So this is why I dropped Heydragon in the beginning, was I didn't really care for having Heydragon plus Crocodile. I just felt like they did a lot of similar things together, in my opinion. So I was like, you know what? I'll keep the Crocodile and I'll drop the Heydragon. Of course, Crocodile did lose knockoff, which kind of sucks, but it still has foul play, which is boosted by his dark typing. So Stab Foul Play does hurt a lot of those physical attackers, as I suggested earlier. It gets amazing abilities in Intimidate and Moxie, and can also run Anger Point versus Urshifu. I don't even know if Urshifu's allowed, but if it is, it can run Anger Point versus Urshifu, I guess. And Meowscarada, if I'm running the Grass Berry, the Rindo Berry, but I don't know how well that would go for this mon overall. It can be a taunter, it gets Earthquake still. Of course, it gets Foul Play, it gets Night Slash, it gets Crunch. So it has good Dark Stab. It doesn't have great, but it has okay. Actually, I don't even think this gets Night Slash, yeah, but it has okay Dark Stab, pretty much. Foul Play is still great, though. Close Combat, Aqua Tail, Body Slam, that sort of thing. It can run Taunt, it can run Sub, it can run Endure, it can run stuff like that. Scary Face if I want to make mons go slower for some odd reason. That sort of thing. So, yeah, overall, fine Pokemon. Crocodile is still really good. Still has a good attack stat. Can still hit really hard. Can be an annoying Scarf Moxie Sweeper as the Heracross beforehand. So this plus Heracross can break through a lot of teams. So that is exciting on that point. Next up is the Electric. So I believe Electric is also a mon that was picked up. I originally did not have it. I'll have to double check what I had before this mon. So Electric is cool. It has no weaknesses outside of Gravity, Earthquake, or Mold Breaker, Earthquake, that sort of thing. So that's really cool. It can it could be like a nuisance, like a defensive nuisance, as well as it gets really amazing coverage for some odd reason. And so it can just be a nuisance in the way of it can just hit stuff super effectively a lot of the times. And I am a very big Electros fan. It is probably one of my favorite Pokemon just because how cool it looks. So can't go wrong with it. So originally, what did I have over the Electros? Oh, it was a Swalot. So yeah, so a little bit of a backstory. I wanted a Poison type at this point, and it was getting late in the draft. There didn't have many points left. I was like, Muck is a great, cheap Poison type. Unfortunately, Muck was sniped, and then John Deere was like, you know what? Give him Swalot. Swalot is a garbage Pokemon that will never come to any game if I kept it. I'm just gonna put it simply. I'm sorry, but I wanted a Poison type, but I didn't want a Poison type that badly type of thing. That's sort of why I had Dragouge as well over Hydreigon, is because I wanted a good Poison type. Pretty much. I would never bring Swalot, and I think Toxic Spikes are kind of huge this gen as well because of how many new mons got it. So I was like, I need a Poison type mon that can soak up the Toxic Spikes at all times. So go with Dragouge over Swalot there. So Electros once again, cool electric type with Levitate, so it is immune to ground types. It has no weaknesses outside of the Mold Breakers, of course, and just crazy coverage. It can just be a nuisance overall. It does get set up with Bulk Up, so it has amazing coverage. You can run both physically, offensively, and special attacking. So it's kind of a jack of all trades type of mon for attacking. So very, very cool. Very excited to use it. So, and then the last mon is a Basculin. Originally, this was a Vaporeon. Vaporeon is probably the worst Pokemon as a bulky water type. I would much rather have a Lomomola over Vaporeon, because at least a Lomomola gets Regenerator. Vaporeon, it lost Scald and it lost Toxic, so it became completely useless as a Pokemon. All it became was a glorified Wish Passer, which is now Taunt fodder and Setup fodder. So, yeah, that is Vaporeon. That was drafted. I hate Vaporeon this gen. I dropped it as fast as I could. I picked up Basculin. Basculin, now with also the White Stripe form, you can run a Violet with it. So that is really cool. And Unfortunately, the White Stripe form is kind of the worst form of the three if you can't run Last Respects, and since Last Respects is banned in this league, the White Stripe form probably won't come as often outside of like wanting to be like a bulkier Basculin set. The other two ones are just kind of better because they get they all three of them get adaptability, but they also get other abilities like Rockhead or Reckless between the red and the blue stripes. So if they ever do come, probably be those over the White Stripe, but still, having just like the ability to pick between three different Basculins, all with them like having different abilities, kind of just like it's like forcing prep because you don't want to run into a Basculin and just get swept by Rockhead Wave Crash or Rockhead Head Smash, or Reckless Head Smash, Reckless Wave Crash, that sort of thing. So kind of does still force some prep on my opponent's side. So I think Basculin definitely got better this gen, and I do think 4 points is kind of underpriced for it. I would definitely put it like between like 5 or 6. So I was more than happy to pick this up after the draft and just have my little Basculin friend. All right, yeah, and that is my draft. It is a draft of all time. I'm not gonna lie. This is definitely not the best draft I've ever had. It's definitely not the worst. I've had worse drafts, but of course that was back when I didn't know how to draft. So here we are. Overall, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tougher for prep wise and whatever. It's definitely not the thing that I'm used to, but I'm still very thankful to both Oji Obaya and John Jr. for drafting for me. Even if I probably will never ask them again if they are also playing, but I'm still thankful for it. Definitely, I would have been skipped countless of times if I didn't ask. So, still, I'm happy with them doing that, and I am happy with. I am not. I am okay would be the better word. I am okay with this draft. I am okay with. I have accepted how this season may go, but overall, we'll find out. We'll have some fun. Using Iron Bundles, Cinder Ace, Dragals, Dancy for Rigorath, Heracross, Crocodile. It's gonna be some fun here. We'll enjoy ourselves. That's all that matters here, right? We'll enjoy ourselves, but overall, we'll see how it goes. I still want to do well, of course, but it's not the end of the world type of thing. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you all next week for the first battle. Peace.